In this video, I'm going to explain how to create a simple PowerShell script to interactively use values that you enter in as variables and create Active Directory user account. So the first thing I want to look at is understanding what each of these fields are. So I have a test account here. You can see the first name is test FN. Last name is test LN. Full name is, or display name is that full name with the two of those. You can see that I have some other fields filled in here, like a description on the account, an office location, telephone number, email address, and so on. So I'm going to slide this over to explain kind of what we're looking at for what we're going to be doing here. And I'm going to pull that same account up and get the information on it. And the username is test user. And I want to get any properties from that user. So I'm going to use get AD user, the username, properties, and an asterisk to pull out all of the information or all the properties on it. So if we bring this page back, we can start correlating some of these details. So you see email address when we're talking in terms of PowerShell you can see that it's listed as email here, but when we're looking in PowerShell, it's titled email address. So that's important to understand how to set these variable values when we're looking at the PowerShell. So you can see CNAME is the display name that's listed over here, and so on. If we look through here, there should be an office location set. So test hall is the office phone is listed. And again, some of these may be titled a little bit differently. So like office phone correlates to telephone number and so on. So as we understand that, we can start looking at actually creating some of these values for to create a user account. So with that, we're going to use a couple commandlets using the new AD user commandlet to actually create the user account. But before that, we need to prompt and actually take in some values for setting up this user account. So what we're going to do in this is use the read host command, the write host commandlet to basically prompt for a message, and then take those key values and store those as variables. And to give an example of how I'm going to write this out, I am going to open up PowerShell ISE. So I can do a couple lines at a time for various things here without actually entering in each of those commands all at once. So first, we're going to look at the write host command, which basically is just going to tell it the terminal to write this command or write this text and return it back. So I'm going to type in enter first name. And then if we run that, you can see it prompts just the message within the quotation marks. So that's fine to do the initial prompt for each of these interactive pieces that we need to acquire. So then I need to set a variable. So you can set the variable. I'm going to name it first, and then use the read host command. What that's going to do is actually the write host command is going to prompt the user, And then this next one is going to basically set the variable called first with whatever the user types in to the terminal. So if we run this, you can see it's asking for a name again. So I'm going to put Bob in there. And if we recall that variable first, it will display the content that we typed in. So that's how you can set a number of variables. So we could also do that same scenario using like a last name. And then again, we could use the same context for the first name and just set it to a different variable. So if we run this again, it's going to do it's displaying the first line with the right host. It's going to ask me to enter in content there. So this time I'm going to say John. Then it moved on to the next line, prompting for a last name. So type that in. And if we recall that, you can see the first name variable is now set to John. If we do the last name variable that I did, you can see that it's set to Smith. So that's how you can go through and set each of those variables that we looked at on the account. You could set literally, basically all of the variables using this method. And then we could move on to creating the actual account with these variables. So we can take a look at actually creating the account and how to set multiple values, all with the new AD user commandlet. All right, so I paused the video for a few minutes there and typed in same similar method for capturing information interactively on the command line and pulling in some of these values. So you can see all the same method for pulling in each of the variable values that I wanted to. So using the right host, we did the inner first name, setting the first name value or variable with the read host. And I went through and did that with last name, username, telephone, email, office location, etc. And then you can see the new AD user. And when I was previously talking about setting multiple variables for all of these attributes that we want to set, these can be all put into that one single add AD user commandlet. So some of the things that we want to look at, obviously you need username. You're going to want first name, last name, probably a display name. If you want to enter in things like email address and things like office phone and things like that, you can definitely set those. But some things to point out, especially the different terminology used between PowerShell and Active Directory users and computers. You can see that when we set on this test account earlier, the first name was test FN. So you can see here that it's listed as given name versus first name, where if we pulled it up in Active Directory users and computers, it's listed as first name. So it's important to understand which of these values are and how they map over here. So it might be a good idea to create a test user, run the get AD user username, and then pull all of the properties for it. So you can kind of correlate those and see what they look like. So you can see like email address, is the account enabled? And that's set to true. Some other things that might be important. So like the SAM account, you can set that, things like that. So looking at that and understanding that's important for creating accounts like this. So I've already gone ahead and typed in some of these variables to be assigned to each of those pieces. So you can see we've got these variables that we're going to pull interactively. And then I'm going to set things like name equals this variable that we pulled here for username. I did the same for the SAM account. Given name, like I said, is first name, and so on. If you want the account enabled or disabled, that would be a true or false statement. And you can do things like prompt for the account password and do a read host as a secure string. So instead of keeping that in plain text, and things like if you set the user account to change the password at next logon, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and run this command or this script here and see if it works. And it did, but I hit enter, so we're going to have a blank first name. So we'll put last name there and B Smith for the username, put a phone number and an email address. Put his office address as test building. And it's going to prompt me for that secure string password. So go ahead and type in the password I want to set on the account. And looks like it completed. So we could check this a couple different ways. We could do the get AD user B Smith and do all properties on it. And you can see that did pull something back. So we've got some of the information I set here. So like here's the username, last name, and like I said, I hit enter a little too quick there, so it didn't capture, I wasn't able to enter in a first name. So you can see that it pulled the email address that I put in, has office location, office phone, things like that. Password expired, set to true. And then if we were to go over here and we should see that account pop up over here. I may have to refresh. And yep, after a refresh, it did show up. So you can see similar information. So in this scenario, I did miss first name. So I could go in and change that or update it. And you can see things on that account. So if for some reason, as you're running this, testing it out, for example, if you get an error on something with telephone, you can comment out these pieces for the telephone, and then it's just going to skip over those. So you could do that to troubleshoot maybe a single area of what you're working on. But thanks for watching, and we'll have another video soon.